are going to read the next story in our Be a Super Citizen module. So if you will please get your My Book, you are going to open it up to page 62, and it will look like the screen in front of you. We're going to take just a minute to do that, and then when you come back, we're going to read and think about our story, Fly Like an Eagle. All right, if you look at the top of page 62, you're going to see where it says Genre Study. And here it says fantasies are stories with made-up events that could not really happen. And the first thing we're going to do is make a prediction about our story. So if you look down the page of 62, you're going to see the section that says Make a Prediction. Preview Fly Like an Eagle. Preview means to look through your pages. And it also says, there is trouble in this nest. You have learned that the setting is an important part of a story. So what do you think the setting in this story will be? Take a minute and write that on page 62. I was thinking when it said, there is trouble in this nest. And then I looked through the pictures on page 63, and I saw the eagles in the nest. And then I looked at page 64, and again I saw them in the nest. And what was going through my mind is, the setting for this story must be a nest. So in my book I wrote, I think the setting will be a nest in a tree where an eagle family lives. Alrighty. At the bottom then of page 62, you'll see where it says, Set a Purpose. Read to find out what the setting is like and to see if your prediction is right. If not, use what you know about story settings to make a prediction. Alrighty, we're going to turn now to page 63. We're going to take a look more closely at this book and start reading. Alrighty, so here we are. Fly like an eagle. And before we start reading, there's a really important question at the top. It says, what do you think squabbling means? Use the text and picture for help. So we're going to read through the story, and I want you to be thinking, that's the question we're going to answer. One of the questions we're going to answer at the end is, what do you think squabbling means? So just plant that question in your head. We'll come back to it at the end. Let's read the story. It was a bright, sunny day. High up in a tree, in a big nest, a brother and sister eaglet were squabbling. What is the problem here? Asked Mama Eagle. He called me a symbol, said Sister Eagle. You are a symbol, said her brother. My little eaglets, you are both symbols, Papa Eagle said. Alrighty, so which details from the story tell you it is made up? How do you know that this is a made-up story? I'm going to ask you a few questions, things for you to think about. Do eagles really talk in words? So when you think about that, your answer is probably going to be no. And that helps you know that it's a made-up story. It's not a real story. There might be real things in it. Eagles and nests are definitely real. But the actual story is made up because we know eagles don't really talk. All right, now let's turn in our books to page 64 and continue with our story. Being a symbol is something you can be proud of, Mama Eagle explained. It means you stand for something. The two eaglets were confused. They weren't standing. They were sitting. Eagles are symbols for this great country of ours, said Papa Eagle. We are free to fly anywhere we wish. We remind people that they are also free. We are big and strong. We remind people that our country is also big and strong. Being a symbol means we stand for or represent something else. That's so cool, said Brother Eagle. Wow, Sister Eagle said, I am proud to be a symbol. Alrighty, so let's look at the bottom and let's think. We've talked about, earlier this week, we talked about what is the author's purpose for writing this story. And remember, we said that finding that answer was as easy as pie. Pie, P, stands for persuade, I stands for inform, and E stands for entertain. So in persuade, we said that the author wants to convince you of something. The author wants you to believe something. Inform said it was full of facts, and the author wanted you to learn something, gain knowledge. And entertain was about having the author give you a story that was fun to read. It was entertaining. So I'd like for you to think for a minute about what we've just read and think about, what is the author's purpose for writing this? Did the author try to convince you of something? Did the author have a fun story for you? I think it was a fun story. Did the author try to inform you of something? I'm thinking that as I was reading, I was learning why the eagle is a symbol for our country. In fact, it said we're free to fly anywhere, and that reminds us that people are free in this country, and that eagles are big and strong. And that reminds us that our country is also big and strong. So when I'm thinking about what the author wanted to achieve with this story, what's coming to mind is more the things that I learned from the story, the explanation that the author gave in the story. And so I'm thinking to myself, if I were answering this question, I would probably say that the author wants to explain why the eagle is a national symbol. And this author chose to explain that in a fun way. So the purpose is really to inform us about why it's a national symbol. And then secondly, to entertain us so that it's more fun and interesting for us to read about it. Alrighty, on page 65, in just a minute, I'm going to ask you to spend some time really thinking and answering that question in your My Book. So if you look at page 65, you're going to see this. Fly Like an Eagle is a fantasy about eagles and why they are important to us. How does the author make it fun to read? Use details from the story in your answer. So I want you to take some time now, read back through the story, look over the story, and write in here on page 65, write about how does the author make it fun to read. Very important, we got to make sure we use details from the story in our writing because we're explaining and we're using those details from the story. All right, before you do that, let's go back to our question that was on page 63. It was a question we had at the very beginning of the reading. Let's take a minute and go back to page 63 and see if you came up with a definition for squabbling. It says, what do you think squabbling means? Use the text and picture for help. So I'm going to first start with the picture. What do we see in this picture? Well, when I look at the picture, I see a mama eagle and a papa eagle and a sister eaglet and a brother eaglet. And the sister and the brother seem to have their mouths open, might have a little bit of anger going on their face, like they're angry about something. So that's a clue to me. That picture has a clue to me. Now, I'm going to read through the sentences, this page again, the first few sentences in this page, and see if I can come up with a definition for the word based on what I'm reading. So it says, it was a bright sunny day. High up in a tree, in a big nest, a brother and sister eaglet were squabbling. What is the problem here? Asked Mama Eagle. He called me a symbol, said Sister Eagle. You are a symbol, said her brother. My little eaglets, you are both symbols, Papa Eagle said. So there are some clues here to that word that give me hints to what squabbling means. Well, first of all, Mama Eagle immediately says, what is the problem here? So when I see that right after the word squabbling, it makes me think that squabbling has something to do with a problem. Then I read that Sister Eagle says, he called me a symbol. And Brother Eagle says, you are a symbol. And that makes me think that sometimes when we call someone a name, they get upset. And then they don't like it very much. And so when they get upset, they squabble. And I'm starting to think that there's a problem, and Sister Eagle was upset. That makes me almost think that they were arguing about something. So maybe what's going through my mind is squabbling is equal or like arguing. They're synonyms, squabbling and arguing. Alrighty, take some time now and finish the writing that you have to do on page 65 and have a great rest of your day.